Jannik Sinner won a match where his legs were completely gone. And what he did to win this match is exactly what every club tennis player needs to learn. I'm going to go through the things that he did to enable him to somehow get through this match. It was literally almost a miracle when you watch it. I watched pretty much the entire match, and it was just amazing. First of all, his opponent Spizzari was incredible, and what was unusual is it seemed like the more pace Yannick hit for a bit of the match, like the first set, he lost the first set, was down a break. Spizzari actually liked that. He was liking, enjoying the pace, which even said in his press conference was one of the things that threw him off was when the pace went down, it actually made Spizzari play worse. So we're going to go through about 5 or 6 points that you can really think about the next time that you might be in trouble in a match physically, mentally, or you feel outmatched. If you do these things, you're going to maybe win a match that you have no business winning, like Jannik Sinner really was dead to rights last night. So let's get into what happened. First of all, Jannik Sinner was out there. He was down a set and a break. And then you could see that he was fighting. He got up a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the wheels fell off and he was experiencing extreme problems with his body. His body started to go into cramps. It looked like his legs were cramping really bad. It looked like his tossing arm was cramping really bad. And it looked like he wasn't going to be able to continue. So he did manage to win the second set and tie it up a set apiece. But then in the third set, it got even worse, and he got down 3-1. Now, at this point, if they didn't call for the heat advisory to where they put the roof up, I don't think he would have won the match. I think that, and let me know what you think about that specific moment. It was very kind of suspicious to me. I guess it was the rule. It happened, and they closed down all the courts. Although Sinner's match was the first court they closed down, but he was able to get a little break, and it changed everything. So, first of all, if you're playing a match and you get a break between second and third set, you could see what he was doing in between points. He was stretching out. He didn't sit down on changeovers. So that's another thing. If you're in trouble, don't sit down, right? If you're starting to cramp, do not sit down and rest because you might not be able to get up. And Jannik Sinner knew that. He knows, okay, I'm cramping. I can't sit down. So every opportunity I get, every break I get, I'm stretching. So that's number one. If you have a cramp, stretch as much as possible. Try and keep moving as much as possible. Tip number two, when they came back out in the court, Jannik Sinner took his time in between every point. Even if he was ready to serve, he would go up to the line and he would watch the clock and wait to go down to zero. So the more time that went by, he even said, as the match continued and I kept playing, the cramps gradually went away. So even though you're feeling extreme pain and you feel like, oh my God, these cramps are going to overtake me, there's no way they'll go away. If you keep moving and stretch and take your time, they might actually go away. Okay, so you might be able to survive the cramps. So he took his time. Now, another thing that happened, which he didn't really necessarily have control over, but made a big difference in the match, was his hitting pace slowed down. The RPMs on his ball, the amount of spin rate, and the pace of his ball slowed down. Now, you would think, well, that's a big disadvantage. But this often throws off the rhythm of the opponent. So Spizzari said one of the things that actually hurt him was that the pace of the ball slowed down. He said he was actually enjoying Jannik's pace in the beginning, but then to create his own pace, he couldn't do it as well. And it actually threw off his rhythm. So why am I telling you this? Because a lot of times you feel like, oh, when I don't have the same firepower and I'm losing my own power, then that's a negative thing. But what often happens, and you see this many times in pro matches, when someone cramps, it almost seems like the advantage goes to the person who's cramping. I'm thinking way back right now as I'm telling you this to Ivan Lendl playing Michael Chang, who Michael Chang beat him and won the French Open as Lendl was cramping. I mean, not as Lendl was cramping, as Chang was cramping. Chang even hit underhand serves. And that pace, the slowdown of pace, actually hurt Lendl more than it hurt Michael Chang. So if you're out there and you feel like, oh, I'm losing firepower, that might not be a bad thing. That actually might be a good thing. So don't let that get into your head. Lots of times the things that you're going through physically, this is another tip. If you can stay out there mentally and play, know your limits, all right? I mean, don't be stupid. If you feel like, okay, I might end up in the hospital here, it's probably not worth it, and maybe just retire and quit the match. But if you decide that, no, you are going to tough the match out, know that what's going on your side of the court is affecting your opponent. And lots of times it's affecting them even worse. So like, why can't I beat this player? They're still playing well. They're still moving somehow. They're still hitting good shots. And it's driving them crazy. They're hitting the ball slower. I don't like this slower ball. All this is working against your opponent, who you would think would have all the advantages. But lots of times they have all the disadvantages because they're thinking, I should win this match. Now they're feeling a lot of pressure. So just knowing that they're feeling a lot of pressure that they should beat you actually works for you and against them. So remember that when you're in a match. You see this happen a lot on the pro tour. Another thing that Jannik Sinner did well was he had a good balance of shortening the points and then also hanging into rallies, right? So when you experience this coming over your body, you want to look and think about what are the opportunities that I can shorten points. If you have a big serve, go for bigger serves than you normally do. Jannik Sinner hit more aces, back to back than I've seen him do in quite a while. Lots of times he'll hit a big serve, but he's content to get into a rally. He loves to get into rallies. Well, he didn't want to get into as many rallies in certain games, right? So when his body was really cramping, he'd go big on the serve, and often he'd come up with an ace. So going bigger on the serve. Second serve returns, he'd step inside the court, crush some, sometimes even fall it to the net, which you rarely see Jannik Sinner do. So shortening the points when you have opportunity. But then also, since Pizzari didn't feel so great with the rhythm, he was wanting to obviously move Sinner from side to side more, but lots of times he couldn't do it. Lots of times he would hit the ball through the center of the court too much. And so when the ball is going through the center of the court, Sinner was okay with extending the rally, and he had a good mix of longer rallies when it appeared that he was doing really bad physically in between points. And then as he was kind of coming out of it, and the energy, this is your last tip, as the energy was coming back into his body, then all of a sudden you saw him do more fist pumps. He got the crowd involved. He lifted the crowd up. So if you can go from this thing to where you almost look half dead, and then if your body starts to feel good, letting your opponent know, like, I'm back, that can totally drive them nuts. In fact, at the very end, the last game or so, I actually saw Pizzari kind of like give up. He had a couple of unfocused points. He was like, kind of like, all right, I guess you're back now, and I'm done. And it looked like he kind of threw in the towel a little bit at the end, or he certainly wasn't as focused. And then Jannik Sinner was able to get through this match in 4 sets. It was quite amazing. So remember all those tips the next time you're out there, and either A, you're not feeling physically well, B, you're having a tough time mentally, or C, maybe you're playing an opponent that you might feel outmatched. If you can take these tips, you're going to win matches that you have no business winning. And remember where you heard it, right here on my YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe if you're totally obsessed and you love tennis and you want to get better. I'm going to help you do that. And if you want to hit more aces like Jannik Sinner was able to do and get more power on your serve, make sure you click up here, because I'm going to give you a free lesson with my secrets on how to serve over 100 miles an hour. So click there, and I'll see you on that video.